Do you want realistic gameplay? Do you want more challenging gameplay? Do you want gameplay that simulates what you see every weekend? And then this is the video for you, because of course, title update 3 for EAFC 24 has dropped, but they claim to have fixed so many things and made the game so much better. But we know we're dealing with EA, so of course there are problems and stuff that we have to fix ourselves. But instead of you guys going in and finding the problems yourselves and struggling on how you're gonna fix them, how are you gonna make it more realistic, how are you gonna change the settings and the sliders, don't worry, I've already done all that for you. So if you go on to enjoy this video and you find it useful, please do drop a like on it and subscribe as well. I'd greatly appreciate that. Today's video is solely going to be based on sliders. If you want all the game settings that I use, my camera settings, visual settings, audio settings, all these things, you can find them in the version 1 video of these sliders, which I will link in the description below. I'll also be showing you guys the gameplay of these new sliders, how they're going to look, so make sure to stick around for that. But we're going to kick things off with sprint speed and acceleration. Sprint speed is on 1, acceleration is on default 50. Why? Because the acceleration in this game is still broken. I made a video not too long ago explaining why we have to use default acceleration. It's still broken even after title update 3, so these men just don't care. Shot error stays on 65, but pass error has actually been decreased from 90 to 75. I found that after the new update, it's a bit more difficult to play one-touch passes especially, and it's unnecessarily difficult to play them with very high rated players. Of course, if you're crazy enough and you want a bigger challenge, you can keep it on 90 or even dare increase it higher. Shot speed has also been decreased from default 50 down to 45 because I encountered way too many situations where the goalkeeper would just watch the ball go into this net without even diving, so lower it down to 45. Pass speed remains on 33 like it was before, and injury frequency and severity also remain unchanged on 80 and 30. Goalkeeping ability, however, is reduced from 75 down to 65, and this is mainly because we reduced the shot speed. If you keep it up at 75 with the reduced shot speed, you'll see the goalkeepers making way too many saves and it being a bit unrealistic. Marking, run frequency, line height, and line length all remain as they were in the version 1 sliders, but line width has gone from 45 to 47, so a minor adjustment there. And finally, fullback positioning and first touch control era remain as they were in the first set of sliders. Of course, the CPU have the exact same settings as the user, so no differences at all. I'll say again, today I'm just breezing through these sliders as quick as possible. If you want an explanation for what each setting does, again, do check out that version 1 video where I explain each setting in detail. So let's get into the gameplay. Do bear in mind that I play on world-class difficulty and slow game speed. World-class difficulty, by the way, is the highest difficulty in which the AI play realistically. After that, they will resemble Ultimate Team. So do with that information as you will. I'm going to show you guys a couple of different situations here. Firstly, us playing as Manchester City against Brentford. So playing as a high-rated team with loads of world-class players against a team that just really work hard, and it's more about the team than the individual players, right? So you're going to see that we're going to have most of the chances, we're going to have most of the ball, we're going to have most of the control of the game, but that doesn't necessarily mean we're going to win 4-0. No, just like in real life, Manchester City may pin teams back and force them to defend quite a bit like we are in this instance, but if Erling Haaland doesn't have his shooting boots on, or if one of the playmakers passing is just off, or if Jack Grealish, just like right there, cannot get past his fullback, we're not going to create the clear-cut chances that we may need to create. And even on world class, with these sliders and these settings, the opposition is still going to pose a threat, right? So Brentford aren't just here to sit back and do nothing. You'll see that they will have chances as well. There are going to be points where we struggle, you know, just like in any real-life game. But the balance of play is like what you'd expect it to be. Like right there, there's a poor touch or a poor pass, but we can't capitalize on it, right? So things such as that first touch error and the passing error does not just apply to you, it also applies to the AI, so you're going to see it both ways. I also have player-based difficulty on, right? So you will see some of the star players of the opposition play differently, right? And I think that makes sense. because each team has its star players, each team has its danger men, and I want to simulate that here as well. I want it to be a bit more difficult to get the ball off their star winger, or I want it to be more difficult for my striker to get past their star defender, right? I do have the player-based difficulty indicators off, just because I don't like the gray arrows over the heads of the players, but I have the setting itself on, right? So I'd recommend you guys having it on as well, just a bit of variety. But we're close to halftime here. We have created a few chances, but still, the finishing today has just been off. And in a sense, you have to give credit to Brentford. The possession, though, is 68 to 32. So, as expected, we have 7 shots to 1, but the XG is only 0.4 for Manchester City, which means, although we've created chances, none of them have been clear-cut or anything like that, right? So, the second situation I'm going to show you guys is 2 evenly matched sides. We're playing with Girona against Real Betis in La Liga. 2 teams that aren't too different in terms of ability, in terms of quality, so on and so forth. So you'll see that reflected in the game as well. You'll see one team have control for a certain part of the game. You'll see the other team regain control. You'll see changes in momentum. You'll see the ball get turned over quite a lot, just like you'd expect between 2 evenly matched sides. But early in this game, though, we are the team on the front foot. We've had a shot on target. We've had a corner, and we've had a couple of chances. But you'll see here, we try to press Real Betis, but our press just isn't effective. It isn't aggressive enough, or it isn't organized enough. And they are going to play through it. And they work the ball slowly up the field through our initial phase of press, through the midfield, and just like that, now they're onto our defense. And I don't feel hard done by there because I realize my errors in the pressing. You see even their passing, it's not all that crisp, but it is effective enough, and they're just poor defending, getting on the wrong side of the man and too slow to close down that angle means they get a goal. And I'm okay with conceding that goal because I can break down the errors that I made in the build-up from the press to the defending, so on and so forth. In this second clip, I'm going to show you guys how many times the ball's going to get turned over, how many times the play is going to start and stop, how many times each team are going to try to attack but fail to do so, right? So you'll see the ball go out of play quite a few times here. You'll see us press, you'll see us win the ball back, but you'll also see us give the ball away. Again, simulating that midfield battle between 2 evenly matched sides where both teams are trying to get forward, they're trying to take a hold of the game and control it in their favor. But the other team are just evenly matched, you know? And right here, they're on the attack. They play through our midfield, close to our defense, but an interception there, like a poor pass from their end, right? Back to the goalkeeper looking for the build-up. And a risky pass, it comes off, but the subsequent pass does not come off as it's intercepted. And now Betis have the ball in the final third. But we have so many bodies back there that they struggle to get that one-touch passing going, and we turn over the ball again. This time, instead of passing through the midfield, we just dribble through the midfield, and it proves to be effective because a little 1-2 here sees us through, sees us onside and in for our first really big chance of the game, but the goalkeeper makes the save in that instance. Again on the attack, this time the momentum going our way. Another chance created that time, but a block from the defender. So with the tight marking and the lower line length, you'll see both your defenders and the AI defenders mark much tighter. You know, you'll find it more difficult to find spaces, but you can also still do this, which is just fantastic. You know, you see that goal, bro? After seeing how much we've struggled, you appreciate it so much more. You're like, finally something, a moment of magic, something special that you're maybe gonna see once or twice in a season. So, brilliant stuff there to make it 1-1, but even the stats in this game are still very, very even. Possession is 46 to 54. Shots are 5 to 3. XG is identical. The passing is slightly higher on the Real Betis side, but that is because they had more of the ball as well. So that's what 2 evenly matched sides look like. The last situation I'm showing you guys is a lower rated team, to put it respectfully for Everton, coming up against a slightly higher rated team. And again, this time he played as the lower rated team. You'll see that it's difficult to get the ball off of them, especially off of their star players. You know, I presume that Martinelli and Saka probably have the player-based difficulty, I guess, setting applied on them. So they are much more difficult to mark. They're much more difficult to dispossess. And going forward, we really have to be a bit more careful, a bit more creative in how we attack. You know, you're going to see a bit of unorthodox play, just like you saw there, but we got a shot away in the end. There's situations where we rely more on crosses, we rely more on long balls, because let's be real, we're not going to play through Arsenal, are we, with Everton? So set pieces as well become more important, like you're going to see here. But again, it doesn't make the game impossible to play. Just because you're playing against a higher rated team, the game shouldn't feel broken. You know, you shouldn't feel screwed over by the game. You know, if you lose, fair enough, you lose, but lose in a way that you're like, okay, I can see the quality of the AI, I can see the quality of the opposition. Not just them sprinting through your whole team, or them scoring from 35 yards out and your defenders falling over each other. But even right here, you'll see Arsenal's build-up is very good, playing through the lines there, and we just don't track the runner, right? Like, that goal is a goal I'm okay with conceding, because I realize the quality of the players we're playing with, right? We couldn't press them, so we had to stay back. And we just don't have the players with the right defensive awareness to see the run from their striker. Again, relying on long balls, and to be fair, they worked slightly, you know? Haven't created any meaningful chances, but you'll see here the crosses and the dinks and holding off the defenders and so on and so forth proved the best avenue of attack. But even in this instance where Idrissa Gana Gueye wins the ball back, he just has a heavy touch on it, loses it, and suddenly there's no midfield. Luckily, Pickford makes the save there, and the corner here from Arsenal sees us clear the ball away. But again, this just reflects the game that we couldn't really get out. You know, the only way for us to get out of our own half, really, was to get those long balls forward, go very direct, and try to create something from that. Because even with the passing, none of it was convincing. You know, could barely get out of our own half. And you could feel the Arsenal press as well. This is where the first touch error comes into play. This is where the higher marking comes into play. Again, the passing error comes into play, where you find it difficult to play through those tight spaces, and Bukayo Saka, again, just almost unstoppable. So I hope you guys got an idea of how these sliders are going to look. And there are the final stats. So do let me know in the comments what you think of these sliders. Do they work for you? What you guys have slightly tweaked? I'm always open to suggestions, always open to criticism. So do let me know in the comments. And if you have found them useful, again, subscribe and like, share it as well, because there are a lot of us out there that desperately need realistic gameplay. So let's make sure it reaches as many people as possible. We also have a Barcelona career mode running. So if you guys are interested in that, do make sure to check it out. But I've been Quickie Crusher. I'll see you guys next time.